Welcome to a special video today. We are joined by Kenton from Rumple. He is the founder and current CEO of Rumple, which is a protocol that allows you to, I've said liquefy, I know it's the wrong verb, turn points into liquid, tradable things. Maybe they're tokens. Is that a good phrase?
Yep.
Right? Yep. And so instead of holding on to your points until there's an airdrop, you literally can mint your tokens, I think, on like a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis and just sell them. And now you guys have recently introduced an auto sell feature. So literally it's just as if those points are part of the APR organically realized on a systemic basis. I'm going to ask you all about this, but have I sort of described the protocol correctly?
Yes.
All right.
One small adjustment is that the point minting allowance can occur, or that happens every other day. So if you want to mint on your own schedule and sell them early, not on a weekly cadence, then you can do just that as well. So, but if you want to go hands off and earn passive point profits, enable the auto seller, and we will do it for you.
Okay, so I want to jump into the auto sell. Like, I'm so eager to get into like the yield trenches, but I know that probably the person watching this is more interested in knowing what the heck you guys are, where you came from, what the idea is. So let's try to burn through some of that. Rumple, you guys launched initially during the height of, I think, points mania, and have been shipping improvements and updates ever since. Tell me about the rise of Rumple.
Yes. So we launched back in September of 2024. We had about $3 million worth of early assets that were deposited. And if you remember, from starting in October and November all the way through like late or maybe January or so, there was a massive rise in crypto prices. And that helped to drive a lot of the usage and flows and just general growth in our TVL. So one thing that we saw was that there was a lot of interest for tokenizing point streams from fluid streams. And then we also realized that some points were not being delivered on time. So we had to backtrack and ensure that our infrastructure was up to spec and that users understood the composition of a real yield. So a lot of explosive growth over the last 8 months, a lot of infrastructure hardening. But yeah, like you said, constant shipping.
So I think one of the things that threw me off when I first looked at Rumple was that I thought you guys were just going to have like, okay, go and deposit your token here, like put SUSDE into Rumple, and then you get the points, you can tokenize those and sell those. And that would have been neat, but it wouldn't really have interested me because I'm not looking for, just the points on SUSD. I'm out there leveraging SUSDE. I'm out there doing all these things with it. With strategies to maximize my points. And I was like, well, I can't maximize those points, then Rumple's not really a good place to park my assets. But then I realized you guys are literally allowing people to come on here with strategies, with the things I would have already been doing, and then realize the point value of those leverage strategies, of those LPs, of those, X, Y, and Z DeFi composability integrations. And so like here, you just said you had Fluid on there. I think that was a big sort of, not a 0-to-1, but whatever you call that, big integration. Yeah, it was huge, right? Fluid's blown up. So shout out to the Fluid guys. I always think about DeFi made here. I can't say other. Semyak, is that his name?
I'm not sure actually. For first time I'm here.
I always read it. I never say it. So Sam, I'll call him Sam. So yeah, those guys are great. Anywho, you guys have these looped strategies already on here, and then so these APRs, as far as I understand, correct me. These APRs are a mixture of the real APR, which is real in the sense that it's the underlying APR from just leveraging the assets. So here you have smart collateral, SUSDE, USDT, that has some APR. If you guys understand Fluid, there's a APR from swap fees. So smart collateral is basically a CLP that has fees on it. And then you also get paid the APR from swapping on your smart debt. So smart collateral, smart debt, you're making an APR on both of those. It's also a borrow cost And if that's net positive, which it looks like it is, it looks like that's that 24%, that 25%. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. All right, cool. It's intuitive. I love that. Okay, so that's the 25%. And then you have an additional 30% here from points. Now, usually, if you're on most protocols, that's when the user does a big eye roll and says, oh, yeah, sure, 30% in points. I bet I'll get that in 10 months from now. What you guys are offering is, well, don't. Get it today. Like, get it this week. Start getting that APR immediately. And if you really want to, go over to Mint and then just auto sell it as you get it. That's
exactly.
big.
Yeah, that is exactly right. And I'm glad that you pointed out that separation of base yield and point yield. I think that like we've seen a few different UIs that have made like assumptions on the point values, and I won't name names, of course, but that's almost fictitious. If you can't get money for those point streams now, then it doesn't exist. So yeah, we're excited to unveil this and hope that more and more people learn about it. One thing to call out is that the two new fluid vaults that we're seeing here, USDT, yep, that one, and then the second one, both of those are advanced fluid vaults where they're both smart collateral and smart debt, and by providing liquidity on both sides, on both the asset side and the debt side, we're able to boost the point streams even more. And some alpha for the listeners is that those are currently at their caps, and over the course of about 1 to 2 weeks, Fluid plans to increase those caps by 20 to 25 million bucks. So if you're big. And right now both of them are at their respective
I know,
caps.
Trust me, we're in the Discord all the time. Like, when are those caps going up? Because exactly. I mean, 25% base is amazing. Yes. It's so good. And then even if you're just points farming this one, as you guys have, I mean, you guys have the implied APY, which is 50%. So we're like doing points valuations, saying, okay, you know, maybe it's negative with just the organic yield, but then plus the point yield, it makes it really attractive. Here you can get that all at once. Yeah, we're waiting for those caps to increase just like everyone else. Actually, I want to talk about the SUSD Go looping, because people are also talking. So, you know, we're in the LP trenches. We have a lot of family offices, hedge funds, LPs that we talk to. I've heard this one, you get points on both sides. Like you get points on the collateral and the debt side.
Yes. It's a special case where you also get it on the debt side, but it's not smart debt, so it's not used as liquidity, and therefore it's not earning the max.
That's not mitigated by any swap yield.
Yep. If you hover over the 448.8, you can actually see that on the debt side you're earning 5 points a day.
Yep.
And then and on the for one of the smart debt vaults, the reason why they have the point yields are much higher is that you're earning the full 30 points. So if you hover over the one right below it, so right there, so 30 per day 30 as well.
Yeah. And then that's really sort of where the money's being made on that 30x. Yeah, I mean, we could get into the trenches or like the weeds about how Athena has pitched these multipliers to people. This is like a whole business model, is selling multipliers to people. And they have the weight and clout to do it. They're basically like saying, hey, you want an Athena integration, you want a good points multiplier. It's kind of amazing, you know. It's like this whole other vertical for a business to have of their size, obviously, because they're a huge liquidity draw, which is really cool and really neat. So there's a few things here. Like conceptually, I think people will get it and then be immediately asking the same question I am, which is, okay, cool. You guys allow for the strategies that I'm already doing and allow me to get the points and like sell them whenever I want. That's awesome. But how? Like, you know, how does one deposit a strategy?
Yeah. So on Fluid tokenizes every position behind it and an NFT. And so they make it drop dead simple to migrate in. The Rumple UI. You can
use your own leverage then.
Yes.
That's nuts. I thought it was going to be like, okay, you deposit maybe USDE and then it does everything on the back end, but you literally mint your position that you like, that you want on Fluid, and then just take the composable NFT over here, just deposit the NFT.
Boom. Done.
So much easier. And it gives you, obviously, it gives you the deciding factors. Like you choose your health ratio, you decide your collateral factor. That's so cool. All right, sorry, I was getting a bit excited there.
And so the yields may be different based on your.
Right, this is probably max leverage.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But a lot of these use, well, always know your oracles. I think, if you guys have been following me for any number of weeks, I am an oracle maxi. When you're looping, know your oracle, know what you're leveraging, know if it's market rate versus fundamental versus NAV or whatever before, pushing all the way up to 1.01 health factor.
Plus one.
Yeah. Okay. So that's awesome. And so all of these obviously are just yields that also have points, because that's the whole value proposition of Rumple. So you're going to have Athena points. You're going to have, I think down here, probably EtherFi points, Renzo point. No, it's not Renzo. Raft, EtherFi, ETH S. That's still EtherFi.
It's symbiotic.
Oh, symbiotic. There we go. That's what the S is. Okay. It threw me off for a second. I was like, why is it green? It's not Renzo. The symbiotics version. Yeah. Okay. So seems pretty simple. Go to Fluid, mint your position, come here, deposit it. How often do these points get emitted?
Yeah, so points, for most point issuers, they're emitted every day. And so we have an allowance update that allows you to then mint tokens against those every other day. It looks like you have some points on your wallet. So if you wanted to, you can click mint.
You guys can't see my Rabby, but it is popping up and asking me to mint these.
Yep. And then so once you have those in token form, you can easily sell them on chain, transfer them to someone else, etc. What we realized is that while building Rumple, we found that users are actually not as active as we were. Like the point farmers were not as active as we were expecting, and so we built the auto sell feature in response to that. If you click that again, I just want to see if it goes through. I wonder if there was a UI issue.
I can send the transaction. I don't mind doing that.
Yeah, do it.
I'm going to bill you.
There's something. Yes, please. Yeah, well, I'll give on a tip on top. But if you refresh this page in like a moment, there's going to be a new column that pops up that helps to track your total auto sell sold. So.
So for the longest time, I was like, Rabby's just, because I've been Ethereum chain maxing for a long time. I was like, man, Rabby's just slow. Like, no, it's actually the Ethereum blockchain is slow relative to like Solana. It genuinely is just slower. And I was like, just clicking things, and it took less time to load on Rabby. And I was like, oh, this isn't a Rabby issue. This is literally just like fetching data from the Sonic chain is so much fast. And I'm not shilling Sonic, by the way. It's just remarkably fast. So Ethereum, get faster, man. Get good.
Yeah. Okay.
So
now on the
enable auto sell. So now what happens?
Yes. So now you basically go hands off. So we have a system where we have a protocol on chain, or like it's an immutable contract on chain that has authority to mint point tokens on your behalf. And that's the only thing. It cannot touch the principal assets that you've deployed through your Rumple wallet. It cannot touch the Fluid position that you may have as well. It simply can mint point tokens on your behalf, and within the contract, there's logic that swaps or it mints point tokens. It swaps it for USDC, and then it pushes that USDC to your EOA. So the wallet that owns your Rumple wallet. So
how would you claim that then? How would you claim that USDC?
It's a push. So there's no claiming step. It gets pushed to your wallet.
Okay, so not the wallet that is holding the strategy, but
correct,
to my actual wallet that I deployed from.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. So you're also saving me like a transaction.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
We charge a very small fee at this time. It's 0.1% of the sale, and that's just used to cover gas fees. Right. So yeah, 0.1. So it's 10 bips. Very, very small.
And is that because you batch them? If you're like sending each one individually. Okay, I was gonna say if they're not batched, you probably need to charge more than that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so now last time we spoke, which was a while ago, you were explaining to me sort of like the OPSEC of the protocol, and why when a user deposits, it's not this like huge custodial chain of command. You're not like there is some reason, and it was like you guys are using safes or something. Can you remind me what happens to my strategy when I give it to Rumple?
Yeah, sure. So at the start, when you begin using Rumple for the first time, you deploy a Rumple wallet. A Rumple wallet is a one-of-one Gnosis safe that you have full control over. The safe is specialized in that it is not allowed to do anything except for pre-approved actions. And those pre-approved actions are every deposit and withdraw step from all of the supported whitelisted strats under the Earn tab. So the reason why that we do a block everything and then admit only certain things is because we don't want users who have earned points, minted point tokens, and sold them. We don't want them to be able to then claim the airdrop that wallet then gets. So that's really the only thing. And then to maybe answer your question a bit more directly, we have built-in safeguards from ourselves, right? So like right now, there is an admin that sweeps airdrops on behalf of users' wallets. Mm-hmm. And what we have done is we've blacklisted ourselves from touching the principal assets that users deposit on Rumple. And we've also permanently added those actions to the allow list. So if you have the ability to deposit and withdraw now, we've basically guaranteed it on chain that you'll be able to continue to do that whenever you want. So that minimizes the freezing risk, and it minimizes the malicious admin risk.
Right. So it diminishes trust requirements. It becomes closer and closer to trustlessness.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So actually, I have a question about this. Do you have to tactically choose who you work with? Because if a points program, for example, was like, you know what, we're not going to go linear, we're going to go this way or that way, then does that matter?
Yeah, so right now, we have the ability to work with any point program out there, regardless of the vesting logic that they have. We have a special type of concept during the redemption process called redemption rights, which dictate how many point tokens you can redeem. Mm-hmm. And with the use of that tool, we can more or less handle any vesting permutation out there.
So let's talk about the redemption mechanism, because that's the thing that's still kind of throwing me off. Let's say, like a YT maxi. I'm the other person. I'm the counterparty to most people. I'm saying, I actually want to buy. I think these points are undervalued. I don't mind buying them. Now, if I wanted to buy, so I think Resolve just had, if you had over 50,000 points, you had to vest, 6% or something, whatever it was. Let's say I bought 60,000 points for Resolve Season 1. I know you guys have Resolve Season 2 on there. Let's say I was a Resolve Season 1 person. I bought 60,000 points. How would that work for me? Would I be able to go and redeem all of those because I use your mechanism, or would I still be beholden to the same rules that Resolve has?
Yeah. So on the way that Resolve Season 1 points are going to be redeemed, it's going to socialize the redemption price or the redemption ratio across everyone. And what that does is that creates like a synthetic, or that creates not a synthetic symbol. I was going to say synthetic loss, but there's this implied loss when you start to socialize things. Mm-hmm. We had that architecture at first because we just simply assumed that projects were going to be migrating away from non-linear vesting and non-linear airdrops. It's a Sybil prone structure,
right?
But we've seen that projects continue to adopt them for one reason or another. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make updates to our redemption right architecture that allows you that basically eliminates that loss. So it was for non-linear airdrops, a loss existed because the redemption rate was socialized. But going forward, we will address that such that the redemption rate is going to be more in line, like users' ability to earn rewards and convert will be more or in line with the underlying airdrop.
Okay, but even if it's socialized, this isn't. So let's just say there are 100 wallets that together farmed 100,000 points, right? But vesting only kicks in over 50,000 points. But because these 100 wallets only farmed 1,000 points each, none of them individually would have had to vest. Does that mean that the whole 100,000 points at the end is sort of up for grabs and redeemable?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So this is what I meant by like synthetic sibling. It's not a sibling in a bad way. It's what it means is like all of these wallets, because there were so many of them, were under the threshold, which means all of the liquid points, even though if you purchased all of them, you would have the rights to more than the vesting cutoff was, they'd still all be liquid. So there is, in that sense, there's a benefit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't you love talking to nerds who look at airdrops all day? There's this one person watching this who's like, I get it. That's
yeah.
That's interested in that mechanic.
One little last thing to call out actually is that we implemented a similar system for Athena season 3, expecting that it was going to be expecting that they were going to have a minimum balance vesting as in season 2. And what we did is we allowed point earners to mint and sell only the first 50%, only the liquid portion of the airdrop. So if they did see vesting, then they would only be selling the liquid portion, and therefore point token buyers are only buying the liquid portion of the airdrop. So we've considered implementing this across like every point token out there, which basically gives a guarantee that point token buyers were buying liquid portions of the airdrop, but that has yet to be finalized.
Okay, awesome, fantastic. Now there's so many, man. I want to talk about maybe it's not an elephant in the room, but it's basically, this has been tried before at a failed state, right? I'm not going to name the name. I think anyone who's followed me long enough knows that I was big on them, and they failed. Who tokenized their points, and then because a certain eigenlayer decided to totally change how they were going to release their points, this tokenized point mechanism failed, and some people got burnt. Now, you guys have actually gone through various seasons now without getting burnt. Various types of seasons, various types of, redemption mechanisms. And why? Like, what makes you guys either anti-fragile or like resistant to what failed for other protocols who tried the same thing in the past?
Yeah. It's, as I was saying earlier, it's the architecture of the redemption right system that allows us to be able to very precisely restrict the redemption intent or like the redemption flows from certain point token holders. So we have essentially like when you pair that with our ability to take snapshots of point token holders in the past, we have full control over or not full control, but we have every tool in the tool set available to us to be able to address any outcome, right? So that includes vesting, that includes whale vesting, min balance of vesting, it includes nonlinear airdrops, and it also includes surprise snapshots, which has been a problem for these past
point tokens. Threw everyone off.
Yep. It was like a month or two, like a month and a half, like before or something, a month and a half in the past. So definitely hard to understand where the value is accruing when that happens. But in our case, we have this redemption rate per process that can address it. And
I'm sighing a sigh of relief for myself, just from the PTSD of that particular instance. But you guys have really, I mean, you've thought of these things and you've dealt with these things. So can you go through a few of the airdrops that have already happened and sort of what that user experience was like for redeemers?
Yes. Yep. So on the redemption side, the user experience is the exact same every time. Once the claims of an airdrop go live, we take about 24 to 48 hours to claim the airdrop on behalf of all Rumple wallets. The reward airdrop is then sent to a Rumple vault contract, which basically pools the reward asset on Ethereum L1. And then anyone who has a point token, which is a claim to that airdrop, they can then redeem their point tokens for the underlying airdrop at their leisure. So that's actually a really important piece, right? So every point issuer, or most of them, they have a deadline on when you have to redeem by. And you also have to jump through a few hoops, right? Especially with Resolve is a recent example where they had a registration process, and that ended within like 7 to 10 days. If you missed that, you missed your ability to claim the airdrop. With our system, we were in contact with the Resolve team, and we were able to redeem the airdrop on behalf of all users there. I think what you're seeing here is a little UI issue, so ignore that. But just to call out that as a point token buyer, you have this like everlasting claim to the underlying reward asset that you can redeem from. So it's a much simpler UX experience. And we think that's a selling point for those who are earning points and don't intend to sell. They can like subscribe to this redemption as a service type offering, where those points that they were earning to begin with, they can now convert them to point tokens and then redeem them for the underlying airdrop at any time.
Yeah, I'm still going through like what are the niche case benefits. So there is a case going back to like what if 10,000 wallets had 10 points, whatever. If one wallet had, again, we're like assuming that 50K point cutoff before vesting, if one wallet made 60K points, but the average wallet made 20K points, so only 10K of the total points were put into vesting, could the person who had 60K then say, hey, I can redeem like more than my 50K immediately, and then there's like that socialized last 10K?
In how it's currently, yes, but he would be addressing that such that there would not be this
advantage. Yeah. Okay. It's still kind of cool from like a, I don't want to say MEV standpoint, but like, how can you as a strategist think about these things? Because, in the DeFi Dojo, we're always looking for these niche cases on how to maximally benefit from these. Okay. So I think we understand the setup. You can bring over your strategies here, deposit them. You're getting points. You can mint them daily, do what you want with them. You can even LP them if you want to LP the points for whatever reason. You can additionally sell them immediately, or you can auto sell them into USDC. USDC goes straight into your wallet. That's awesome, saving us a transaction there. Then, if you are a points buyer, at the end of the airdrop, you can come here, take your points, and redeem them. Quick question on this though: when you're redeeming, is it like every person's different Gnosis safe has accumulated these points? They have no claim to them. But now if you've bought, like there's 10 wallets, each of them have 10K points. You purchased 40K points. You want to redeem. Is it the case that it goes through the redemption contract for like 4 of those wallets and says, redeem the rights to these 4?
No. During the redemption phase, before it turns active, right? Here's like a pending flag and then it turns active. During the pending flag, and within the first 48 hours of the claims of the airdrop claims being open, we will sweep all of the airdrops. Yep.
And then now you just have all of those tokens. That makes a lot more sense. That makes way more sense than the mechanism I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah.
So you sweep all of the airdrop claims, then you have this pile, and then that's why it's socialized. Here's the big pile. Here's your portion of that pile, right? You have, maybe you have 1/5 of the total KP tokens, or KP tokens, which are tokenized points. Then you get 1/5 of the total sweep.
Yes.
I get it. I love this. So, by the way, anyone who doesn't know, a KP is a kilopoint. It's like 1,000 points, right?
Yes.
Okay. And is that right? Kilopoint is the right terminology there?
Yeah, it is.
Nailed it. All right. Yeah. So This is cool. I feel like I've gotten most of this all the way. Also, if you guys do want to trade points, you can go to the trade page. If you can click the Uniswap button, it'll just take you right to the Uniswap UI. You can purchase or sell these points yourself directly through Uniswap. You can also set up LPs. If you want to CLP points, hey, knock yourself out. Why not? There's this interesting case where a point is effectively a pre-mined token. So there should be a pretty small delta between the point and the actual underlying token. So if you wanted to play that, or as Rumple grows, if there's more volume going through these, especially with the auto sell function, there could be a vertical where LPing these points is similar to a like pseudo delta neutral or delta-ish neutral on the underlying asset with yield. So I like these. We thought about this a lot, and like as you guys grow in volume, this becomes more and more attractive.
Yeah. I'd love to also tell you about another strat that prospective point token buyers should be aware of as well. So when you buy a point token, and for any like post TGE project like Athena or EtherFi or Circuit, you have the ability to hedge out the exposure of the reward asset as well. So if you're buying a point token, you just need to make an assumption and maybe add like a factor of safety into the conversion rate from points to the reward asset. But if you hedge out the reward asset on a perp, you effectively create this like rough delta neutral strat. And what you would be earning is you could be earning the funding rate by going short. This depends on like if the funding rate is negative or not, and you'd also be earning the discount that most of these point tokens trade at to the intrinsic value. So it's very similar to like for the sophisticated actors out there. It's very similar to like buying discounted OTC assets. But instead of like knowing the conversion rate to tokens, you have to make a small guess.
Right. Yeah. There's some sort of analysis or analytics, but that's the sort of speculating that we like, right? That's the sort of fun math that DeFi is all about. If you're a DeFi farmer, especially a points farmer, then speculation is the name of the game. I could go on a tangent about how fun point speculation can be and why I really favor what protocols like Reservoir have done, where they've sort of said like, hey, we're targeting this amount of points and this percent of an airdrop, which makes speculation super easy. Versus like, hey, we're going to have an airdrop, it'll end someday, and you'll probably get something for it, which makes speculation incredibly hard without like getting heavy in those trenches and digging for alpha. Okay, so this is good. I feel like that was one of the most concise overviews of a protocol I've had in a long time. You've obviously talked about this a lot. It's your protocol. What am I missing? Like, what are the other things about Rumple that we haven't covered, that we haven't talked about, that maybe people should look forward to, or that are like on the horizon, or that we've had a blind spot towards?
Yeah. So maybe a couple of things. The first thing is just that, or maybe two or three things. So the first thing is just to like talk about like what points actually are and why Rumple should be considered in any point farming strategy. And the reality is that points have been used in Web3 not as like traditional loyalty TV points, but instead they've been used as airdrop accounting tools. And I think that that's really important to call out, because once you start to think about points as an airdrop claim, the use of Rumple becomes a lot more clear. And so as you're earning points, you can use Rumple to earn these claims, and you could sell these claims at discounts to hedge out any risk that may exist with the airdrop. Sometimes, not sometimes, but oftentimes, like over the last...
Someone's at my front door. I'll be right back. You were talking about points.
Yeah. So Rumple should be seen as just a tool for earning points, because once you begin earning points through Rumple, you now have the option to take profits early. And if you did not use Rumple, then you simply don't. And so I think that it's just important to call that out. I think that Rumple gives utility back to points and allows users to like feel empowered and like have a decision on how they want to earn rewards. So it's an empowering tool, and I just want users to understand that. So that's one. The second thing is that we have us points program ourselves. So if you scroll up to the top, we have points. It looks like you have 74 million points. Congrats, Stephen. So we've had 3 chapters thus far. We anticipate rewarding, or we plan to reward previous chapters in one fell swoop. We haven't announced on exactly how that's going to be done, but chapter 4 is about to be launched in the next 2-ish days. So we have some more exciting like features with chapter 4, such as getting points for buying point tokens and holding them across time. So I think that your users are going to be interested in learning more about that. But if you go to the farms section on the top of this page, you'll see here that LPing gives you some of the most straw per day. So if you decide on it, if you figure out how to price these point tokens or these airdrop claims, and you want to be an LP, you can kind of like earn the lion's share of Rumple points by helping us in this way. So wanted to call out that as well. And maybe the last thing is just that even though we're on L1, where we're actively exploring where to expand next, I'm not unsure.
Most of the points bonanza is on L1 though. Like even though a lot of teams are like pushing onto L2s, the claims are on L1s. The RWA, man, the RWAs had blown up. There's like $12 billion of our RWAs on mainnet, and all of them have points campaigns. So positioning yourself well for that, I think, is going to be a massive vertical for you guys. And so L1 maximalism makes a lot of sense. Also, I think Vitalik was like, scale the L1, which, you know, a lot of us ETH maxis are like rallying behind.
Yeah.
But would love to see you guys on, you know, I guess where are the points happening now?
The only exception, so I agree with everything that you just said. The only exception is Hyper EVM.
Yeah. Yep. Hyper EVM.
So
we're talking to a few teams over there, getting more and more excited about it as the days go by. And also there's so many points campaigns. Obviously the second airdrop's not going to be as big as the first one, but yep, man, that first one was good.
Yes, it was.
So hopefully, yeah. And like all those, we have, I think there's liquidity forks over there. There's like 4 different stablecoin protocols over there. There's also like a pre-mining campaign. Mantle's running one. If you guys can tap into that, I would. Also, it's an interesting vertical because like not a lot of native L1 protocols have ported over to Hyper EVM yet. So if you guys could, you know, I don't want to tell you what to do with your roadmap, but I would be excited if you guys did that because there's a lot of points happening over there. Okay, cool. So scaling on the L1, tapping into the RWA narrative, making points composable, LPing, which kind of gives you like a Delta 1 exposure, plus Rumple points or straw. I like that. Is there anything else? I've renewed my excitement in this, so I'm stoked. I feel like it's oftentimes these AMAs are just me getting pitched and excited about things, so I really selfishly appreciate them. Is there anything else that you guys are sort of excited for or like working towards?
Yeah, well, hunting that we to just tell the story a bit about our journey building on points. I'll say this: we built Rumple expecting that the points infrastructure was hardened, and what we found is that it's still very much a mess. The best point programs out there are Athena and EtherFi, and that's it. All the other ones are still scrambling to get a handle on things and ensure that they're able to sufficiently scale quickly and not be hindered by point integrations, but then also like trying to keep up the integrity of their points scaling. Like all of that is very, very hard. And what we've realized is that the foundation that we built on has some cracks, but we don't think that those cracks are unaddressable. So what we've been doing is we have been exploring the fundamental layer of point issuance and point earning. And so we have some really exciting things to share in the coming weeks on that front, because we think that there's like a real move to be made in that space. So excited to share more.
If people do want to like be on the cutting edge of what your updates are and like follow you guys and, you know, be in what I call like the trenches. For a lot of people, trenches is meme coin trading. For me, it's Telegram and Discord. Yeah. Just like constantly trying to get alpha from teams and protocols and users and return all that alpha to the DeFi Dojo. Little shameless plug there for the community. where can people find you guys?
Find us on Twitter at Rumple Labs. Most of the alpha, though, is actually, it can be found in our Discord in the support tickets. So anytime that you open up a support ticket, you have a direct line with the team. And man, we are an open book there. So feel free to jump on our Discord, open up a ticket, and say hello.
I hope you don't regret saying that, because you might get a lot of tickets. But Kenton, I am excited about Rumple. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about the protocol and the future and sort of the points landscape out here. It's been a pleasure to talk to you again, and I hope we have more interactions in the future.
Indeed. It's been a blast. Thanks.
All right. And for everyone else watching, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.